If you want cleaner shots, better reflections, and gear that just straight up doesn't suck for car photography, then this is the video for you, because in this video, I'm going to give you my top recommendations for budget-friendly gear for starting photographers. The three main pieces of gear I'm going to cover today is the camera body, your lens, and filters. Now, these recommendations are based on my own experiences with cameras, and I do have a free full guide linked in the description below about all the gear that I recommend using, plus what I currently use. So if you want to get more in detail about all the gear that I have recommendations for, you can find that free resource down below. Starting off with camera bodies, this one is going to be pretty polarizing, so I'm going to just jump into the ones that I recommend. Clearly, there are a ton of awesome cameras out there that you can choose from. These are just simply the ones I would recommend taking a look at and comparing. For those on a tight budget, I recommend either the Sony ZV-E10 or the Canon M50. Now, the ZV-E10 has a Mark II, and I believe so does the Canon M50, but I would look at the Mark Is as well as the Mark IIs. Those are going to be your budget-friendly cameras. Because they're APS-C bodies, they are lightweight, and all the lenses that you get with them are also pretty lightweight and cheap, and it's a really good, like, take around town kind of camera, but you still get really high quality images and video out of them. In fact, a lot of people use these two cameras when getting started out on YouTube, so if that is also something that you want to try out, these are awesome cameras for that. If you have been in the photography game for a while, these are also great as a secondary camera. So for instance, if you want an everyday carry camera, these are really good ones to look at. Those who are looking more at the mid-range area, maybe want to do a little bit more professional work, I recommend looking at the Sony a6400 or the Canon R7. Now, the Sony a6400, this is a really good sweet spot because it's just old enough to be inexpensive, but still has a lot of good capabilities. If you want to, you can look at the a6700 that has all the newest features, all the newest software. That is an option as well. These are still going to be a little bit more budget friendly, but they're going to have a little bit more oomph in their capabilities. So this is the next step up from budget friendly. The autofocus on these cameras are amazing, especially if you're doing painting shots or tracking shots or you're doing rollers. Both of these cameras are worth looking at. Now, for those who are in the more professional side of things, you want to spend a little bit more money, I recommend looking at the Sony a7 IV or the Canon R5. Now, I personally own the Sony a7 IV. I've never personally used the Canon R5, but these two cameras are more than capable of getting you paid clients and expanding your capabilities into the stratosphere, honestly. They have really good low light performance being full frame cameras. They have the best dynamic range in the game. And if you're somebody who needs dual card slots, both of them offer this. These types of cameras are for the client shoots where you want to ideally have print quality photos. What I also really like about my Sony a7 IV is that it's a hybrid camera, so I can shoot 33 megapixel photos and take good video because it shoots in 422 10-bit, which is what you're watching right now. Next up, we're going to talk about the lenses. And in my personal opinion, the lenses that you purchase is the best investment possible over the camera body, because the glass that you put in front of your camera is going to make more of a difference than the camera body itself. You can take a 10-year-old camera, slap a good lens on it, and nobody's ever going to know the difference between that camera and another camera with the same lens. And these lenses are the most versatile and widely used lenses that I have seen personally in the car photography world, which is why they're my top three. The first one is going to be the 50mm or the Nifty 50. The Nifty 50 is a nickname given because it is such a well-rounded lens, and it's also the most accurate to the human eye. So this is why it's great for portraits, but it's also great for capturing cars, and this is honestly a really good budget-friendly lens to begin with, so there's definitely not going to be any short of them out there. It's super sharp at a 1.8 aperture because it is a prime lens. It doesn't have zoom capabilities, and it's also really good with low light, and that natural perspective of the eye doesn't distort your image at all. Now, for those who are looking for a lot of flexibility and versatility, and are the ones that are like run and gun kind of shooters like myself, 24-70 f2.8 lenses are fantastic. I'm actually currently shooting on a 24-70 f2.8 by Sigma, and I do have a video where I do talk about what I think is the best budget-friendly lenses out there, and this is one of them on that list. There are other ones out there that are around the same range, so if you want to see more about that, go check out that video after this one. This lens is one that if you only had to buy one lens because of your budget, this is the first one to get because you can use this one lens for a very long time. Between static shots and rolling shots, this lens is a really good performer for all of it. Now on the upper end of the more pro side of lenses, I recommend picking up a 70-200, especially if you want more compression in your shots and you want to go shoot motorsport events where you're tracking the car itself. These are higher in price typically, but they're easily unmatched when it comes to the other lenses that I've mentioned. This one specifically is by Sigma. This is about $1,000 cheaper than the Sony G Master Mark II. So if you do want to get a more budget-friendly one, this one does exist. And honestly, I've used both, and I think this one is pretty good for the price. So I wouldn't sleep on this. And before we move on to the next section, everything that I've mentioned in this video is going to be linked in the description down below. So feel free to go check out all the recommendations I've made, and don't forget to pick up the free resource guide that I have down below as well, where I go a little bit more in detail on all the recommendations I make for gear. Next up are the filters, and I believe every single car photographer needs to have a polarizer filter, and you can get it from all types of brands and all different prices. When I started off in car photography, I went with the brand like K&F Filters because they make top quality, budget friendly filters. And if you just need a polarizer filter just to cut out those reflections, this is a great brand to look at. Another brand you can look at is Neewer. Now I've never used Neewer's polarizer filters, but again, it's a polarizing filter. It's just to cut out the reflections, and pretty much any one of them is gonna work just fine. The more mid-range area, a little bit pricier side, is gonna be a brand like Hoya. I've never personally used Hoya, but I know tons of people who have used their filters in the past, and they are really good quality. There's another brand called Earth, I believe. It's like spelled with the U. I've heard those are pretty good filters as well. Now these are a little bit more in the pricey area, like mid-range, I would say. And the pro level filters I recommend looking at are from brands called Breakthrough and Polar Pro. Now I personally use Polar Pro filter, so I am pretty biased because I work with them on multiple projects. I have multiple filters from them, but there are different types of filters out there that you can get. You can get threaded filters, or you can get magnetic system filters like this one. This is magnetic and it physically locks in place, so it's called Maglock. But the type of filter that you pick out, it's gonna be pretty pricey because these filters are usually anywhere from $150 to $300+ depending on where you are in the world. Now there's obviously a lot of different opinions out there, and there's a lot of different pieces of gear that people would recommend, but if I were to just start out all over again, I would just stick to a good camera body, a good lens, and a good polarizer filter just to get started. You don't want to fall into this gear trap that people always try to get you in because they're just peddling all this free product that they get sent to them, whereas I want to make sure if you're just starting off in car photography, you're not overwhelming yourself. Those 3 pieces of gear is all that you really need in your bag. Now, if I were to give you my honest personal recommendation that is biased, I would pick up a Sony APS-C body camera like the A6400 secondhand, so you save some cash. I would then pick up a variable zoom lens like the 24-70 for a full frame equivalent. So I believe for APS-C, it's like 16 to 55 range, 58 range. Pick up one of those lenses because it's going to give you the most versatility, and then just pick up a $60 to $80 polarizer filter from a brand like K&F. Honestly, just to get started, that's really all you need, and you can build out a camera for probably around $1,000 or less doing it that way. And I also recommend trying to buy things secondhand to save yourself a little bit of money. Don't forget that all the links to the products that I've mentioned are going to be down below, including my free resource where I'm going to give you a little bit more detail on every piece of gear that I personally own and recommend. If you got value out of this video, please drop a like down below, and if you want to see more from this channel, please consider subscribing. I am trying to hit a goal of 25,000 subscribers by the end of this year. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.